beautiful souls. Welcome to my podcast. Today's podcast is Transition to a Higher Dimension, Releasing Your Created Identity or Identities. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you are coming back to my podcast and my channel, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, your energy, and I hope whatever I am sharing with you does help you. And if you're a new listener, thank you so much. Please subscribe, like, share this video with whoever might get benefit from it and who is going through heavy transitions in their lives. The reason I started this podcast is because I felt the need to share my journey up to now with many souls that are going and will be going through releasing their old selves, releasing the old frequencies, because no longer on this planet the heavier frequencies can be held. So thank you so much for joining me today. Before I jump into today's podcast, I actually wanted to pull an oracle card for the collective, for the listeners on this podcast. And I actually bought a new tarot card, Cat Tarot, and I call it Charlie's Tarot. It's dedicated to my beautiful Charles that I still miss so much, and I know he's already in a different form. So, and today I pulled, guess what? The Hanged Man. I think it's pretty appropriate, and to read about it, I'm going to have to put my reading glasses on because this tarot card is quite has a quite small font. So what it says is, although it looks like doom and danger, this card isn't the disaster it appears to be. Your problems are of your own making and may not even be problems at all. You climbed up the tree, you will be able to climb down. In the meantime, patience and new perspective will serve you well. So, I think it's been kind of appropriate to pull that card because it ties very nicely into the topic of today's episode. So, that being said, I want to begin this podcast by sharing with you something very significant that happened to me in the last week. Because as we're going through this process of dying to our old frequencies, energy, emotions, wounds, whatever you call it, everything is energetic vibration. I am also going through my own processes of deepening into my energy. I'm passing on information that's been very familiar to me for the past, I would say, decade, 5 years, 3 years, depending where I was going, where I was on my journey at one point of time, answer here. And I was able to deepen my connection to who I am last week. And one of the most long-lived wound that I carried since my childhood, I believe, in fact, I know now it was even before I was born, was immediately brought to awareness for me. And I want to say healed, or at least initiation of healing begun. And already I feel lighter. So every time we bring something to our awareness about our wound, about our story, about our identity, and you have that aha moment, you have a place within you to release that and create that space so the new you can arise, new energy can step in. But today I wanted to focus on giving you some assistantship tools, how to look within you, and perhaps to whatever level you can understand which part of you, which aspect of you will be dying. And dying, I mean transforming. I would like to first ask you to close your eyes just for a moment and see if you can start slightly scanning your body, starting from your toes, moving into your feet gently, moving into your calves, moving into your knees, thighs, hips, moving into your pelvic bones, stomach, all the intestines, inner organs. Move into your rib cage, your chest, your heart space, into your shoulders, your arms, your fingers. Move into your neck, your throat, your teeth, your ears, your cheeks, into your eyes, behind your eyes. Move into the space between your eyes, into your forehead, to the top of your head. And while you're doing this process, start becoming more and more sensitive to the energy that you hold within your body. And when you scan your body, start sensing where this could be heavier, more dense space, energy, where it could be tension or pain, maybe some sort of stagnation, unexpression, constriction. See where within your energetic structure you feel an openness. Something is blocked, constricted, small, moving. Start connecting to that space. And the reason I'm guiding you through this process is because you will start understanding where on energetic level you have more blockage. And I will go very quickly through our energy structure today. So this way you can understand maybe where the release will take place. Because ultimately you don't know what aspect of you will be dying, right? Ultimately, all of our identities will be dying. But since all of us have different type of background, history, whether it's the human history here on Earth plane history, where it's galactic history, where all of your lives are literally showing you where your path is taking you, where you must die to a certain aspect of you. So this way you will know perhaps maybe what to expect, even though a lot of times it's very unexpected. And I'll begin from my experience, and I believe I've mentioned some parts of this in the past episodes, is my major 3 areas of death that I had to experience was the root chakra, root space, the sacral chakra, the second chakra. Root chakra is the first chakra, sacral chakra is the second chakra, and the 4th chakra, the heart chakra. So those 3 energetic spaces were the most affected through my life here. and perhaps even other lives, where aspects of me had to die so the space can be released, opened up, and those identities that I was grabbing onto can vanish. And I don't have to any longer fight for something or struggle with something, right? Or not be open to receive something. And actually, let me add another space area. My throat as well, I had to work on, but I believe that actually wasn't necessarily as difficult as others. I only had to be aware of it and really just move into the space of releasing through my voice and speaking and creating. I didn't experience anything per se death identification with it, even though I had to hold my ground with my voice, and I still do, because it also goes way back beyond this life for me. So that being said, I want to guide you very briefly during this episode through 7 main energy portals that reside within our energetic body, within our space. And please don't think of them as something physical that is within our space, energetic space. It's simply an energy vortexes, because we are energy. There is nothing that is not energy ever, anywhere. So all of these things are energy. And honestly, if you want to start really thinking about life, think of life as dancing energy, sound, frequency. When you think of a person who hurt you, think of them as energy that is still constricted in their identities, that are attached to their identities. So that helps me, at least. And so I'll go through these energetic portals very briefly today, and then I will tie it as well as I go through them to the identifications that we've created for ourselves. And from there, you can see which area of your energy is mainly constricted and maybe under activated or overactivated in comparison to other energy spaces. So most likely, that's where you will experience the most difficulties in your life, with others, with yourself. And that's where you will probably put more of your energy and time into dying to that aspect of your created identity, right? It doesn't mean you will know until the end how it will happen for you, but at least this might help you to dive and explore that aspect of yourself. And in the next episode, I will go into the emptiness of our state that happens after the complete surrendering, the complete release of our identity. So in the next episode of this podcast, I'll go into that space of being completely empty and what it does to us and what happens afterwards. But today we'll dive into exploring how you might assist your release of your identification with all the things that we've created here. And I welcome you to comment below, because if you have any questions, just in the comment, ask me, and I will be happy to assist. So let's begin. So the first identification that we have to ourselves is our body, right? Our body here. Nothing is wrong with that. Absolutely nothing. Yet, If your identity to your body is unhealthy, perhaps you are speaking to your body negatively, right? You're being too harsh toward your body. Then you start creating that identity of lack, right? Of unhealthy approach, of unhealthy thinking. Even if you are very active and you exercise all the time, it doesn't really mean you have a healthy approach to your body, right? So investigate where it's coming from. My example is I used to dance. I used to be very critical toward my body. And not in the sense of the looks, but in the sense of ability, what it can do. And then I ended up tearing. Actually, that was happening already throughout my life slowly since 16 and until whenever, right? I stopped dancing professionally when I was 20. So since 6 years old to 20, I really danced extensively, daily. So when I received official diagnosis by surgeon that I tore both of my labral tears around my hips, I chose not to go through the surgery, and I started really changing my view, my perception about my body. I really started looking into that with a different perception, with more gratitude, less criticism, and different approach altogether. Yet I still had some sort of identity to it. So the identity of your body only has to be pretty much, it's your avatar. Without your body, you cannot be present walking in this three-dimensional existence, or even fifth dimensional to a certain extent, because our earth is already anchored into fifth dimension. So another aspect of the root chakra is your identification with your security here on earth, your support, your security, which also ties to resources, which is financial resources, food resources, people, community support, any type of support and resources. It ties down to our root chakra. So if you have lack mentality in the root chakra, if you feel like you don't belong here with ease, if you don't feel like you have support, if you don't feel like you have enough financial support, or you've always struggled with it and you don't have support by others, you might experience a wounded identity in your root chakra. So if you experience that, keep in mind you might be going through the death of that identity, which I have gone through, which really put me in a place where I had to lose all the financial, quote unquote, support or sources. I wasn't supported by community, by people, and I lost completely, like the rug was pulled underneath me. So that had to and forced me to really start looking into my worth, right? My who am I beneath this body? If I didn't have this body, if I didn't have anybody, if I didn't have any money, if I don't have any of this, who am I? Where is this self-worth, self-love coming from? So you have to dig deep into connecting to your true self, true identity, right? And the process is the same for anybody or anything, is who am I without all of this, without all the physical identities that we've created here on this planet. And ultimately, it boils down to deep, deep sense of love toward yourself, and deep, deep a sense of no matter what I have here, I immediately have support when I'm born here. Immediately I have belonging here. So, but that is not necessarily an identity that we create. That simply is embodied, innate sense of I belong here, I am here, therefore I have a right to all the abundance that is here as an energy being. So you don't have to identify, did I make enough money? Did I save enough money? Did I, right? And all of that has place. But all of that comes from the energy that you hold within. So, but this process takes us into the surrendering, into the release of the old. We're not looking yet at what we are supported with on the other side. Right now, we're still going to that 0 point frequency, to that void, to that empty space between the realms. So that's root chakra. And of course, you can see I spend so much time in the nature, diving into connection to nature, because nature is root chakra. Nature is the support here. So connecting to nature, trees, roots, walking bare feet, such an amazing tool. And of course, moving your body, establishing new connection to your body, being kind from critical side of yourself, identity, self, move into, if I were God, how would I approach this beautiful avatar that I created for myself? How would I nourish it? How would I love it? Not from the critical, judgmental aspect of yourself, identity, but from the higher realm. Look, that higher frequency energy love. How would I love my body that's been working for me for all these years, nourishing me, fighting for me? So that's root chakra. And there's much more to it, but to understand it overall, that's enough to know that it connects us to our body. What is your body image that you've created? Release it. You don't need any images. You don't need any stories. You don't need any identity to your body. Your body is a beautiful energetic vehicle that does all the work for you, for your soul to do what it needs to do here on this planet. So all that we need to do is love it, nourish it, know that it's supported, connect to nature, connect to elements, right? So, and see where's your tribe that supports you. But this process, of course, this release of your identity process, a lot of times kind of puts you in a zone of isolation a little bit. It doesn't have to be. You can still be with people. You can still connect to people, but it requires self-inquiry time and just dying to your identities. And I have to say that if it is being given to you already before you arrive here, that you will go through some losses like I've gone through, you will go through that. And there is nothing you truly can do about it. Because if you prepared for yourself the path that would require you to understand how everything happens, how energy works, especially if you're in a role of quote unquote a leader, quote unquote of a guide, you will have to go through some dense falling and dense and high rises. And everyone has their own way of dying to their identities, because we don't know what lives we have beyond this life. We only know maybe of ourselves, but not others. So that being said, is that if you are dying to your physical self right now, in that sense, in the identity sense, then that's the path you have chosen. But look at your root chakra and see how it works. What energy you're holding there, how stagnant you're there, how you're approaching your physical world here. All right? So the next energetic space is the sacral chakra. And the root chakra actually is located right at the bottom of our spine. Our spine holds DNA space, right? That energy, that kundalini. So that DNA information. And not in this realm, but beyond here, we used to have tails, right? So we held more information in our spine that extended to the tail. Now it ends at the at the tailbone. It's still called tailbone. So root chakra is at the tailbone, at the bottom of the tail, at the bottom of the tailbone spine. Then we're moving to the sacral space, sacral chakra, feminine. So the root chakra is masculine energy. Sacral chakra is feminine energy. And it's all about our emotional realm. So look at your life and see where and what type of emotions you've been challenged by throughout your life. What emotions typically get triggered by others? Where in your body you hold those emotions. It doesn't have to be really in sacral chakra right here, but if your hips are stagnant, right? If your hips are tight, then you're holding on to the emotions. I used to be like that. Here, we connect to our inner child. So see how you have that connection, that dialogue with your inner child. Have you had a happy childhood? If not, on whatever levels, then maybe connect to that space of yours. Maybe go outside and play like you used to play when you were a kid. And if you didn't play when you were a kid, play now. Become your own parent. Yeah? So it's all about sexuality, sensuality, inner child, feminine, flow, water, spend time in the water, hot tub, bath, your feminine, receptivity, allow yourself just to be, dance, play, express. So all of that is there. And that identity, so what kind of identity? Any identity you've created through your emotions. Maybe you are controlling people through your emotions. Release that. Maybe you are energy that doesn't express emotions. Release that and just start expressing your emotions. Maybe you are over expressive with your emotions. Okay, spend time in silence and simply just be with yourself instead of just spitting out all the emotions onto others. Be with them, feel them, cry through them, scream through them, do whatever it needs to be. Allow them to move through your body. Feel them and release them. So identity can be created around emotional realm. And that, if you have a lot of that, a lot of us do. Whether we like it or not, it's major one. So any identities that are created around our emotional realm will need to be released. Right? So investigate that space within you. And like I said, what helps with that is simply being aware how you get triggered by others, what emotion arises, and just feel that emotion. Don't push it away. Be with it. Welcome it. Accept it. And when you fully experience that emotion, it tends to leave your space. We're meant to experience any emotion that arises within us. Because then if we don't experience it, it's gonna come back. And come back in maybe even more challenging state, right? And then the thing is, when you get better and better at self-awareness and operating through these energies, even if something harder arises, you simply are much more of an expert of the alchemy, much more of a transmuter of your energy. So it will be a harder, I guess, experience or lesson, but you will be more of a master to tackle it with ease, maybe shorter time, less pain, So with time, it's just like anything else. With time, you simply will be more of a master of yourself. So that's the sacral chakra, the feminine, right? Then we move into the most challenging one, I would say, is solar plexus. The reason it's the most challenging one is because that's where our ego resides. It doesn't have to be the most challenging, but when we release aspects of our old wounded self, that's where a lot of them are stored. One good exercise you can do to assist you to release it is put your hands in knuckles and start tapping here. It will feel painful, but here you're opening up that stagnant energy for release of all of those identities that are being stored here in this energetic space, right? So the reason this one is one of the challenging ones, and all of them can be challenging, it just depends on the person, is because this one is a battle of relationships, right? And life is all about relationships. We're all relating one way or the other. And here, for example, it goes back to your childhood, and of course it can go back to history, your galactic history. But for now, let's say going back to your childhood here. Go back how you grew up with your parents, with your siblings, and what relationships you've had with them. Was your relationship with them where you had to fight for the attention, fight for your words, or you had to step back, become mute, become shy, timid, because you couldn't get through them? The same goes into your relationship with your partners, your friends, etc., co-workers, whatever. Are you the one who is overpowering others? Or are you the one who steps back and become more quiet? So observe those dynamics and know if you are unable to dance gently with another, being able to sit and listen to them and respond only when it is at the right time to respond, and perhaps give suggestions or advices only when it's asked by you, asked by others. So it's this beautiful, harmonious dance with others, opposed to if you are one always giving advices overstepping, overpowering, giving, screaming, being loud, you can see how you created that identity of a bullying. Like a good example of a bully guy in the high school, right? Or someone who fights for that attention so much. And ultimately you want love. Everyone wants love when they're fighting for that attention, for, to be heard, truly, to be respected, to be acknowledged for who you are, simply, not for anything, but just who you are. And you were not acknowledged, you were not quote unquote loved, you were not cared for the way you wanted to be cared for. So that's why you really had to force yourself upon to others to receive that attention. And the same goes for the other spectrum, is you wanted to receive attention when you stepped back and cried in a corner, right? Became quiet because nobody was paying attention to you. That's how you were trying to step into that energy of, if you don't see me, that means I'm not significant to you. And that means you don't want to have my presence around you, right? So, and the same goes into relationships later in life, where your partner overpowers you and you don't like conflicts, you step back, right? And you don't know how to express your truth. You don't know how to make your healthy identity to be known, right? Both spectrums are not quite healthy identities. So here, our ego fights for its rights, one way or the other. So look into your life, look where you were, look where you are, and maybe what you need to lose. For example, another thing, look at your accomplishments and see how you feel about them. If there is a level of pride, if there is a level of superiority about achieving them, even if you help others, it doesn't matter. You cannot fake energy, trust me. You will have to face losses to whatever degree. You will have to face losses of those identities in whatever form they arise. Even if you have accomplished certain things and you are shy about them too, you may still have to face some sort of crisis, because you have to have that healthy understanding of yourself, that I am doing what I'm doing for the good of the all, for the good of oneness, for the good of others. So my example here is, I had to die to my identities of higher degrees. One time I was sitting in the park and filling out application to go and work at this restaurant by the beach as a cocktail waitress, because I needed money when I was going through my surrender and death process. And I was putting all of these degrees, all the accomplishments, experiences that have nothing to do for the job that I was applying for. And I just started crying and bawling, and it was so much pain here. I'm like, how dare you, I've done all of these things, and now I have to sit here and fill out this stupid application that would give me this pathetic $20 an hour or whatever it was. And I just cried and cried and cried. And I understood through that process, I allowed my one of my aspect of that identity ego dying. So I was allowing, through my tears, through my surrendering, through my humbleness, for that aspect of me to die, for that identity to die. So it truly doesn't matter. All that matters is, yes, it's good you've accomplished all of those things. It's amazing. But what is your relationship with that? What is your association with that aspect of you? So if you feel, and especially if you have a lot of like kidney, liver, gut issues, look into that, because that's the solar plexus. And the energy will be doing its own thing, absolutely. But you can always assist yourself, assist you to get through the process with ease. And trust me, from my experience, if there are issues with that, if you still attach so much to your identity, if you are on the path of inner evolution, which all of us are, but if you are really experiencing that, trust me, certain things will happen. You will be humbled to the level where you will have to face your ego identities. Everyone experiences this differently, but things, people, anything will be taken away from you because energetically you are not vibing with the path where you are going. So you yourself are doing that to yourself. That's what was very hard for me in the beginning. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this to myself. But we are, because our soul does not care how many friends you have, what kind of, and how many houses you have, what kind of, and how many cars you have, like any of that. None of that matters. None of that matters, because your soul wants you to get the abundance of life. But to get to the abundance, you gotta drop the heavy energy. And that is attachment and identification to all of those aspects of ourselves that are of the old self, heavier vibrational state. As simple as that. And when we're on that heavier vibe, we have limited access to information, limited access to universal knowledge that resides within our DNA, and we have direct access to it. But if we are vibing in the old state, connected to our attachments, we're closed into that. So it's just not gonna come through. These two will not open up to the level they can if you are still operating here so much. It's good to have them open here. It's good to have healthy relationships to our energy here. But when we identify 10 years ago, I used to do this, I'm so good at it. That's your identity. Allow it to pass. You are good at everything as an energy being, because you have access to so much more than your previous careers, your previous degrees, your previous friends, your previous hobbies, even whatever they are, jobs, whatever. Just have that peace with what it was. But identifying with that will pull you back into your old self continuously. So releasing that identity. You are now here. That's all that matters. And you are pure consciousness. You're God's creator. You are it. So when we get embodiment into that aspect of us, of that holiness of us, all those identities no longer need to even, you won't even think about them. You won't even operate on that level anymore. So, and that's kind of, we're gonna get there. It's a yummy time. It's a yummy space for that. But let's just stick with where we are now. So, all right. So that's the solar plexus. What do we do for that? Like I said, sitting and just playing with all the titles, identities you have, and just allow them just to be there and observe them, that they were your tools to get to where you are now. And now you don't need to identify with that anymore. Done. And there are wounds there. That's the thing. There are wounds there. Because, for example, I felt like, because my solar plexus were, even though I couldn't really, and that ties to my throat, speak my truth when I was growing up as a child, this solar plexus were functioning very well because I had to carve my path. You know, I'm an immigrant. I was on my own. I was independent. Like, independency for me was huge. And I had to surrender that too, because I realized I can't do everything on my own, right? So that solar plexus were very, very powerful within me, right? So, but I had to develop it because I had to stand on my own. I had to create that identity, right? And then slowly I had to even release that identity that I have to do it myself. No one can help me. I am this warrior, right? So whatever it is, release it. There's no identities that need to be there. So, and what else can you do besides really seeing what, how you operate with other people here? Because mainly look at your relationships and how do you relate to others? Are you too overpowering toward others, or opposite? And how can we balance that out is, well, if you you feel like you need more power here, yoga asana is great, actually. Any physical exercises are very, very good for this chakra in this space, right? And being on the sun, connecting to vitamin D, this is sun, solar plexus. So for this solar plexus chakra, it's mainly connecting to your authentic self, your authenticity, your integrity, and your values. What are your values in this life, in this existence? What matters to you and what is truly yours? Not anybody else's. Not identity that people tell you about, who they want you to be. This is who you want to be, right? So if you're more timid, shy, gain that power, self-acceptance, self-identification, right? And I welcome you not to identify with any of the physicality, just identify with archetypal energies, right? What you want to embody as an energy walking on this earth. Then also work on your relationships with others. See how your dynamics with others, right? And again, don't give in into criticism. If like you're being controlled, criticized, bullied, don't give in to that. Stand your power. Stand your ground. Claim it. It's yours. It doesn't, it's all you. And of course, if you are the one on the other side, step back. Relax. Release control. And connect to your values, connect to your identities with those energies. Breaking attachments, breaking resistance, connecting to inner child. When you start laughing, playing, being this jolly, beautiful energy, you release all the need to criticize, control, manipulate, lie, like any of that, just to get the situation under your control, you know. If you move too much, take more breaks. Take more relaxation, breathing, meditation breaks. If you don't move enough, that's where you want to move more. Implement more exercise, yogasana, dance, any qigong, anything you want. So you have to balance physical opposed to non-physical movement. So if you move too much, move less. If you don't move enough, move more. And now we're moving to our heart space. It's right here where the physical heart resides. So this is the space where we can anchor when anything goes bananas. Of course, there are many other options for anchoring, but this is the space of healing, releasing, accepting, forgiving, anchoring. All the energies within our energetic structure connect here. This is a bridge between gross, heavy energies that we carry within us. That's why we want to open up, purify that space. And then this is a bridge into the higher dimensions. So until this is not purified, this chakras, this energy space will be wonky, wacky, wacky. Whatever comes out of your throat won't be pure. And when I say pure, please don't take it to the extreme level. Pure means heartfelt. Pure means higher mind thoughts, right? Pure doesn't mean you don't curse, you don't fart, you don't do weird stuff, you know. It doesn't mean you're this perfect cookie-cutter person. No. First of all, I don't even know what perfect means. Perfect doesn't have a meaning to me anymore. When I say pure, it's when your intentions toward yourself and others come from kindness, compassion, beauty, humility, humbleness. You know, like you no longer need to protect yourself from others, and you no longer need to push yourself onto others. Like you don't need anything anymore from others. You're only here to do what it needs to do to assist your inner evolution and evolution of the mass humanity. So that's what I mean by purity. Purity is where you don't compete anymore with others. You don't need anything from others. You simply choose to do what's right in the name of creation, in the name of oneness. So it's a space of non-conditionality. It's a space of, like they say, unconditional love. And of course, unconditional love doesn't mean that you agree with people's action. You simply know that they are walking their path, they're doing their own screw-ups, their own healing, their own whatever, their own stuff, and ultimately they're going into where you're going anyway, sooner or later. So this is a bridge. And how do we open our heart? That was my also big point of surrendering, big point of healing, big space where I needed to be. And here we connect to our grief. If we lost anything ever, we grieve, we cry it out, we connect, we see everybody as one, we melt into that space, we open up heart through asanas, through cacao. I love cacao now. We serve cacao during our retreats, by the way. It's an amazing ceremony. What other tools can I share with you? You can hug yourself or others, and you can simply just meditate on this space, right? Meditate on opening up this space, blocking, releasing all the blocks with asana movements. You can open up this space. I used to do this in the shower every morning at one point. So a lot of self-acceptance, forgiveness, and healing, healing. So here we filter our emotions. Here, when emotions rise within, you feel it here, experiencing and release it. So when we, for example, want to say something toward another person, first we feel it here. And we feel it and say, okay, is this for the good of that person? And if your heart still says yes, then you can say it. But if in the heart it feels like nothing good, nothing helpful, beneficial will come out of this, then it's a no, right? So this is a space of hearing your thoughts. This is a space of feeling your thoughts. Do your thoughts feel heart connection? And then you speak it. And more and more we open up this space, I feel, from my processes, more we affect lower chakras as well, to melt, to break the barriers, to open up, And when I say open up, I mean energy. Energy. We're opening up our energy for grace to step in and support our path forward. And when we speak about identities here, we can connect to identity of wounded heart. So my heart, for example, was broken. I don't want to open up my heart to another person, be it a male, a female, a partner, a friend, whoever you've had a difficult experience with, and you feel like, I don't want to open up my heart. I don't want to open up myself, my energy toward that experience. You are, and I've been there, I welcome you to look into that identity, because when you closing your space here, not only you are not opening up toward others, you're also not opening up toward newer frequencies to receive, right? It's a feminine chakra, and feminine energy is a receptivity. That means you are closing yourself off from receiving love, receiving goodies, receiving anything from universe. When we truly open our heart space, we don't need to anymore run after somebody, be it relationship, partnership, co-creation with others, or running away. We can simply hold our ground here. And in this space of openness, we don't need to identify, like I said, with the lack. Simply start being here with discernment. And discernment is because you've purified the lower chakras. Now you can feel, are the energies coming at me that need to step into my experience? Do they need something from me, like assistantship or not? Or do I need something from them, assistantship or not? Or you feel like those energies are unhealthy and they don't need to be within your structure, within your energetic space. So you have a discernment for yourself, for your own path. Do you need to step into that situation to connect to that person or not? So this is a discernment. So when you drop that identity of wounded heart, and there is a place for that. I'm not saying that at some point you needed that shield there. But when you're ready to release that shield, you can gently drop that shield down and being more soft within this space. And softer you get, quieter you get here, you start sensing energies. You don't even need to see people. You can sense their energy. And you will make a decision based on that energy, what is right for you to do. So that's the heart. So we're moving further into the throat chakra. And here we don't really anymore have identities, to my knowledge. I could maybe play with that and feel through if there could be some sort of identity, but typically we work here on expressing our truth. And the reason is heart is the bridge, because this is the place of purity, the gate into higher consciousness. So that's why before here, this needs to be purified. So when it comes to this space right here, whatever comes out through your communication, it comes from the heart. It comes not from the wounded solar plexus, ego, fighting, right? Not from the wounded emotions, not from the wounded identity to our body, talking, saying things toward our body that are not healthy, right? So physical form, root chakra, emotional realm, sacral chakra, identity per se, self here, that is connected to relationships with others. And then the bridge, the yummy space of our pure emotional realm of non-conditionality. Then it comes through into the throat, and then we can communicate without attachment to our identities, to our created egos, our created ego that wants to control everything and everybody, right? Or being the subject of the control and not standing in our power. So our throat is the gate. And here, sometimes what you can look at is if you tend to be the one who always talks over others, right? Who tend to be the center of attention, right? And that also is here, solar plexus, who uses voice to put people down, to criticize, to control, to it also connected to the technology, to utilize technology for control and the lack mentality of the humanity, like all of that stuff. Think of television, radio, any social media, just think about that a little deeper. So here, if it's not pure, if it's not coming from the realm of purified energy within the body, then it's gonna be opposite of the benefit toward yourself and humanity and anyone who's around you. And if you have a fear of speaking, I've had that in the past. I was told through a specific connection I've received that I was actually poisoned in one of the lives, and it took me a while to gain my voice back, to be able to speak like this. If you told me 10 years ago I would be talking on YouTube, forget it. Are you kidding me? If you told me I would be running retreats and speaking in front of 20 people, forget it. Like I'd laugh. If you told me I would be running a radio show for 5 years, forget it. But that is how I was working on my voice. Step by step by step, I was releasing the fear of speaking my truth, releasing the fear of speaking of higher powers, because that's why I was chopped, poisoned. So it's here where it's balanced. That's why I tell people usually, if you really want to activate properly your throat chakra, of course, first focus on your 3 energies that are residing in the gross chakras, gross space, energetic, more solid space. And then spend time in silence. Spend time in silence. Because first you will be within you, understanding you, what voice comes out of you. And then slowly start speaking. And then you probably won't be shut down with your voice, because you will know your power that comes from here, comes from purity of you. So, throat chakra, what can you do? Whatever I just said in the past. And so, connect to silence. Purify your energy as much as you can. Emotions, connections to all the aspects of you that are connected to solar plexus, identity to your root chakra. Sing mantras. Just sing in the shower. Spend time creating whatever you're creating. This is also a creativity. Of course, it can be through communication, but it can be through different modalities. And also, spend time just listening to people without trying to respond, right? Just, if you're in conversation, allow them to speak and allow them to express themselves, you know? So that's the identity of the throat chakra, that typically does not have an identity, but if it's not still balanced and open here, it will come out as an identity of shy to speak your truth, not being creative. And opposite of that is being too loud, overpowering others with your voice, and utilizing communication technology to hurt others, to control, to criticize, to judge, to pretty much affect others where they don't benefit and you don't benefit from it. So I welcome you to maybe even go through a list of people that you've been connected to in the past or now, and see how your communication was with those people. Because ultimately, it's not what you say, it's how, with what frequency. Because it's interesting, it's very hard to explain. Sometimes if you haven't gone through that yourself, frequency doesn't lie. Two people can say the same things, but it will be received in a different way. So if it comes from that ego space, it will be received that way, and people may get triggered, offended. They will put a wall, they won't be able to step into your energy or want to step into your energy. And then the same thing may be said with a different frequency, because you are different here. Then the response will be different. So I've experienced that in my life, and ultimately everything that comes out of our mouth, it's the sound, the frequency of our inner state. So that information goes through you and it expands somebody, right? Or it constricts somebody. So it's very interesting to observe. So maybe go back to the list of people and see how you've interacted with them, and see maybe what needs to be adjusted. Where does it go? Is it going into your solar plexus, or is it going into your sacral chakra? So with this, I'm trying to help you to identify where you could have challenges that will arise in the process of your release of your identities that no longer serve you. So from your throat, we're moving into the third eye space. When everything is purified here, there will be no more identity here either. But if you still find yourself judging something or somebody, be it yourself or others, this is still not balanced. The third eye is not functioning yet. It doesn't mean it doesn't function sporadically here and there. It can still happen. But seeing life as is happens only when there is no more judgment about anything. It doesn't mean you agree with that. It's not that. It simply means you see life and you're no longer in a state of reaction to it, because you've purified yourself. You've addressed, you've dropped those energies. So in this state, you simply observe where everyone is and allow them to continue their path of evolution, energetic inner evolution. So here we have no more judgment. And a lot of times I've noticed this opens up either through continuous meditation or some very humbling moments. Meditation combined with truly humbling moments, and they can be small as almost losing the phone and then it appears and somebody brings you your phone and you didn't lose it, and you are in such gratitude that you didn't have to go through the bullshit of replacing your numbers, all of that stuff, because it's a hustle right nowadays. As small as that and as big as losing somebody, right? Or losing your things or anything. Because when we really humbled, we recalibrate those ego identities right there. So then you start simply dropping the judgment one step at a time, because you recognize that the judgment comes from identities. And if you are on the path of releasing what's not serving you, which is identities, then you willingly, in a humble way, release those identities. And side note, by releasing your attachments to your identities, ego, it doesn't mean, one, you release your aspects of your personality. They're still there. They're going to be coming out in a different form, and we'll talk about it later in a different episode. They will come out in a different way. When I emerged from that process, I couldn't recognize my new self anymore because I was used to my old self, and then I was observing different energy playing out. And it was almost like, yes, I remember it's me, but the way I operate, the way I perceive, the way I move through life, the way I understand everything and myself and how I connect to myself, totally different person, quote unquote, energy. So you're not going to lose that. You're actually going to enhance that essence of you that was always there waiting for you to eliminate the constricted self of you, right? So when you open your third eye, you start really living your life without judging your life, without commenting your life, without having subtitles in a different language of your life. You will be observing and living in curiosity and wonder of the next step, right? Next step and next step. And that's how things will change, and your perception will change. And also you'll open up to all kinds of psychic abilities that all of us have always access to. They're a little bit differently experienced, but they will be there more predominantly open. So if you find yourself still commenting about other people, yourself, quote unquote, judging, analyzing other people in a way where it affects you internally and there is a reaction to it, then that's an identity that comes from the lower chakras. And the third eye is just kind of still a little bit foggy. It's taking a nap still, pretty much. So there's no per se identity that is connected to third eye. The identity is from 3 lower chakras. But this is something you can pay attention to. So if you find yourself not seeing life as is and still creating those subtitles at the bottom of your text, at the bottom of your movie, then it's your identity rising within you. So there's still judgment present. But don't be harsh on yourself. That is actually very, very, very challenging because it requires that work here. The minute this work here is done, all of this will be naturally moving, opening up, creating space. You will start having access to so much information because these chakras have to be able to hold everything that comes through into your energetic space. If they are constricted, the information cannot enter, and you cannot hold space for this. So that just kind of a side note for you. But I think to kind of see where you are is, do you still comment around your life a lot and about others? So from the third eye here, energetic space, we're moving into the crown space, right at the top of the head, and it opens up, and then you are able to receive the information from consciousness, pure consciousness, right? And of course, you can receive also information from other people, but that typically happens when you still don't have discernment within your energy, and you still don't know how energies feel, because there are some energies that are heavy, constricted, and some energies that are open with information that is beneficial to your existence. So here, I don't think I need to talk much about the crown chakra, because there is definitely no identity connected to that at all. The only thing I want to mention about that space, that energetic space, is if you take too many psychedelics, right, you will be open here. But it does not mean that your lower chakras are purified and cleaned. That actually could be dangerous, because you're so open here, you might experience psychosis, which can be dangerous too if you're not supervised. And if your lower chakras are not balanced and you don't have a root chakra to ground in, you can kind of start floating in that space without realizing what to do, knowing what to do. And your dimensions can be always residing without you recognizing when one stops and another begins, because you start really living in all of them without anchoring where you need to anchor here on earth. And you will experience mental challenges, you will experience people will take advantage of you, and you won't be able to really live here as human being, function properly, and it's challenging. So I wouldn't focus too much here if you're still working on purifying your energetic space in your body. For some people, it is more natural to connect to higher chakras. I've gone through that, and I've realized that I need to focus on the lower chakras so I can actually utilize all the goodies that are coming into the higher chakras. So that being said, we'll focus on these chakras later during this podcast, but for now, keep in mind this is the gate into the all-knowing, into the higher mind, into the information that is not typically available in a constricted form of energetic space. So all the knowledge and multidimensional information libraries will be opening up and entering your space when you are able to hold that kind of high frequency. So that being said, I just went through 7 chakras and identities that you can explore, that you are attached to, and where you feel the most attachment, perhaps that's where your release will happen. That's where you will probably embark on a path of struggle. See where your stagnation is within those chakras, and that's where most likely you will experience a deep death to your old self. Old stories, old wounds, old feelings, old constricted scenarios, identities. And that being said, I want to finish this episode with a small exercise of connecting to our own energy. I lead and teach Qigong during my sessions, private sessions, during my retreats, workshops, and I enjoy it so much, and I wanted to share that with you today. And this will help you to start heighten your connection to your energetic space and hopefully help those thoughts to slow down and the heart to open and really be more within your energetic space. I welcome you to bring both palms face one another in front of your solar plexus. And bring your palms, open your fingers kind of, and relax your palms, right? You're holding your palms with your arms, but your hands, your fingers, they're relaxed. Kind of like in the water. You know, you're moving through the water. Relax them. And place them as close as maybe 5 inches without touching one another. And close your eyes and bring your focus into your palms and space between your palms. And relax your fingers. They're still wide open, but they're relaxed. So this way you will feel whatever you feel between your palms with more grace and ease. And slowly start moving your palms away from one another just a little bit. And then bring them closer without touching. Slowly. And then move them apart a little bit. And slowly bring them closer. And then bring them apart a little bit more. And bring them closer. Keep on focusing onto your palms and between the space between the palms. And start sensing, what do you feel? What do you feel around your palms, between your palms? Perhaps you feel a little bit of heat or vibration, magnetism, attraction. And now open your eyes, bring your palms close together and rub your palms against one another. Create heat. Little more, little more, little more, little more. All right, bring your palms onto your face, onto your eyes, and slide them down towards your neck, maybe your shoulders, around your arms, and again bring them 5 inches apart in front of your solar plexus or heart, wherever is comfortable for you. Close your eyes and bring all your attention onto your palms and the space between the palms. What do you feel? Relax your fingers. And whenever you're ready, you can start slowly moving palms away from one another and bringing them closer. Moving hands away from one another slowly, like you're moving through the waters, through the ocean. or just a hot tub. Bring your focus onto palms. What do you feel? Connect. Maybe if you feel like you can imagine that you're holding like a small watermelon or cantaloupe and start moving that energy around like you are playing with that watermelon. Or even closer, bring your palms closer. This will help you to feel more. Maybe you're playing with an apple, big apple. Just relax your fingers, relax your eyes, relax your body, and just be into your energy. Play with your energy. This is probably the closest you have got to connect to your true self right here. The energy. Play with that, relax into that. Maybe you can find your own movements here, however you want to play with the energy between your palms, around your palms. Create that for yourself. You can do this on a daily basis. This can help you to slow down your thoughts, slow down your actions, help you to maybe focus on one task at a time instead of multitasking all the time. Connect to your energy, and then with time actually help to release stagnant energy within your energetic body as well. Play with that. Spend time connecting to the energy between your palms. Bring your focus into palms, palms, palms. Relax your fingers. Feel the energy. And now I welcome you to rub your palms against one another again. More. Faster. Faster. Come on. I know you can do it. And again, place your palms on top of your eyes, your face. Give yourself that energy. Your neck, your shoulders, your arms, maybe even your legs, anywhere you want to, your tummy, your heart, anywhere you want. Loving yourself nicely. With that, I would like to finish this episode today, and I want to leave you with these words: is you are the center of the universe. And when you release identification and attachment to those aspects of you that we call identity, stories, then this statement, you are the center of the universe, will make sense to you. Because sometimes people may take it as, I am the center of the universe, you know? Listen to me. No. you are the center of the universe from my perspective, and I am too, is because from within we create out. From our energy that resides within, we create the world outside of us. So whatever energy you carry, and all of us carry, we create our realities and mass reality, right? So when the energy is purified, the center of the universe, you start creating a different reality outside. So I welcome you to begin with you, because there's no other way to our knowledge at the moment. And love yourself, humble yourself, work on releasing those not needed identities, and reach out for help, and spend time in the nature, and be you, and connect to you. So that being said, I thank you so much for connecting to my podcast episode today. And I welcome you to subscribe if you are a new listener. And if you returned or even new, I thank you again. Please like, share this video, that it could help another person, however, whatever way it can. Thank you so much. I'm sending you my love, my vibes, and I'll be seeing you in the next episode that will be talking about the emptiness, that emptiness that we ultimately want to go to.